So it's down to Matthew Hampson to control the pace. Red lights on, they go out, and away we go for the first TEGIWA Roadsports race of the season. And heading down towards the first corner, it's Hampson in the lead. Oh, but he takes a lot of curb there, and he spins, takes out Daniel Sylvester. He's going to rejoin the circuit, but it causes other cars to scatter left and right. That was all a little bit messy, Josh.
I thought some of these drivers were using this as a test session for tomorrow. Didn't look like that at times there. So it is 27 that leads. That's Mark Grice. Up to second has come Ian Jones in the BMW Compact. There, though, I'm afraid, is a very damaged front end to Matthew Hampson's car. That could have got a lot worse, though. Daniel Sylvester there in the Audi TT really saved it quite well as he was sliding across the circuit. But here come the leaders through the cement dust. There through the S's. Into third position has come Rob Baker, out in the Volkswagen Golf this year, of an Area Motorsport developed car from a road car. He's even got the sat-nav still in it, I noticed, when I had a look around that car this morning. So great to see newly developed cars out there for this year. And qualifying down in sixth position for Rob Baker and Cole Swift, the three-time Club Enduro champion. So let's see how they get on. They've made a good start up ahead there of the Sayat of Colin Gillespie, who's in P4. Then Luke Handley, who's upgraded his Golf to Class A specification for this year. Another multiple Club Enduro class champion. And then completing the top six that have got away is Nigel Greensall in his BMW M3. So it's 6 cars for the lead across the line, and a challenge for the lead. Here comes Ian Jones around the outside of Mark Grice, and he's got lots of power in that BMW Compact. Can he get the car stopped at the end of the straight? He can. So into P1 goes the oldest car by far in this group.
Yeah, and we've got one in the pits as well. That's the 701 car of the Wilmots. That's out of the race, but no, great effort that from Ian Jones down the straight. He was able to power past Mark Grice and into the lead of the race then. Rob Baker there in third place in that Golf. Golf's third and fourth at the moment then. And there is the 151 car, which is slowing that of Colin Gillespie. Yes,
he was slowing down towards Tower, and now that car is going to perhaps make the cut back to the pit lane. Yes, it is. So that's a reliability issue, it would seem, with one of the Sayats. Don't know if he got involved in that on the first corner or not, but Colin Gillespie is limping very much so back to the pit lane. There you can see the Scottish racer, and the marshals might need to give him a bit of a hand, I think, to get to the pit lane.
Yeah, gravity just about on his side. It's a very slight down slope to the pit lane entrance from where they are, but let's have a look at some on-track battling. That's the 46 car going through. That's Jack Wright in the Golf. Up on the inside of the 33 car, Matt Creed also going past the number 33 Honda Integra of Liam Collins as well.
Looks like the Sayat that pitted has got some sort of spillage in the car. There's lots of cloths being put into the passenger side of the car, or no, that's the driver's side on that car, isn't it? So I think there's some sort of spillage in the cockpit. Anyway, let's have a look at the lead battle, because there's that new Area Motorsport Volkswagen Golf of Rob Baker, making a much tighter line than a type of car he's very used to, because he's been racing a Sayat over the last few years, and at the moment he's trying to chase down the Sayat there of Mark Grice. 380 brake horsepower, big turbocharged Volkswagen Golf there then for Rob Baker, with his teammate now just behind him, Luke Handley. So for the last 3 years, Rob Baker's won Class A in Club Enduro, Luke Handley's won Class B. They're both in the same class this year, and they look pretty similarly paced in the early stages of this one. Nigel Greensall just behind, and catching them, I reckon, is Josh Lawton in his Honda Civic.
Yeah, absolutely right. We'll keep an eye on Josh, number 10, who started 7th, is 6th. Matthew Hampson has made it into the pit lane, by the way. Was that the leader a bit out of shape coming out of Sunny there, maybe? Ian Jones. It's the battle for the lead that we're watching, with Mark Grice there in second, Rob Baker with them as well.
It's smoky, the compact, as it was breaking down here into the complex. And still got yellow flags as the marshals retreat to the post after pushing the Sayat into the pit lane. Ian Jones, did he get hit under yellow flags?
I think, yes, there was some contact. Ian Jones has got his hand out of the window there, saying, what on earth's going on under yellow flags? I'm getting a nudge there from Mark Grice. Mark Grice is still there in second place. with Rob Baker right behind him. The Mazda there has just, I think, come out of the pit lane, hasn't it?
And while he was being lapped, Nigel Greensall got up ahead of Luke Handley as they went through Hawthorne.
Let's have a look at a replay of that incident up there at the hairpin just a moment ago, Josh.
Yes, so there's yellow flags already. So already in yellow flags here, which means drivers need to slow down, be prepared to stop. And Ian Jones was doing that, and the rear end of the car got lifted up there by contact. So I suspect race control will be looking at that one.
I think they might. Anyway, racing continues here at Croft, and we are on lap 3 of the race.
Josh Lawton was catching. He's done the fastest lap of the race. He's a second quicker than anybody else. So the Honda Civic there, car number 10, is the quickest car in the race. The driver from Hull, local-ish to Croft Circuit here, the ex-Time Attack racer in this 1994 Honda Civic EG with a K24 supercharged engine. There's lots of power in that car. All over the back now of Luke Handley as they battle over 5th place. Yellow flags are in this time, so they can race this time through the complex. And Ian Jones, therefore, brakes later, turns into the hairpin, not under pressure from Mark Grice. Part of one of their cars is in the middle of the road as they turn their way out of the hairpin. Still in 3rd place is Rob Baker, and then up to 4th, Nigel Greensall looks quicker than all of them, perhaps unsurprisingly, the 8th historic racer there in P4. Then a gap back to Luke Handley, who's still ahead of Josh Lawton, who's all sideways over the curbs, and he saves it, but a big moment there.
It was indeed a big moment. So here is the race leader, Ian Jones still, 6/10 to the good, 4/10 I should say to the good at the beginning of the lap. And he's being chased by Mark Grice here. There's Nigel Greensall looking as if he's going to try and make a move there on Rob Baker as well in that BMW. Nigel Greensall racing all kinds of different cars over the years. There's the Gillespie car that's made its way into the pit lane. And it's the Baker car there with Greensall behind it and a gap back there a little bit further to Luke Handley in 5th position. So we've had just about 7 minutes of this race so far, but we've had quite a lot of action already packed into those 7 minutes. Here's the leader, who is shortly going to catch up with some traffic in the form of the number 82 Mark Lane Honda Civic.
And it's side by side for the lead into the hairpin. Could round the outside is trying Mark Grice. Ian Jones here, you can see he's on the inside of the Seat there as they run side by side through the circuit, through the corner. Ian Jones doesn't give a huge amount of room to the Seat driver, who's all over the grass. He's going to lose momentum, lose positions there. So around the outside of the hairpin tends not to work here, of course, particularly when there isn't that much room given. For 2nd place, traffic just about coming into effect there. So Nigel Greensall wasn't able to lunge up the inside of Rob Baker, which he gave a little bit of a look to do.
It also meant that Mark Grice has been delayed getting past that back marker as well, so he's going to lose ground there as well to Nigel Greensall, so he's lost quite a few car lengths. So it's BMW leading, Ian Jones, Volkswagen Golf in 2nd now, Rob Baker, BMW in 3rd, Nigel Greensall, and the car off there is number 25. That's the car that Leslie Charnocker was sharing, but it is looking in quite a bad way, that, Josh.
Not going to stop him trying to get back going by the looks of things. I think it's Rob Smith who he's sharing with ex-historic Formula Ford racer, but I'm not sure if Rob is going to get a go. Looking at the Porsche there for Les, ex-Ferrari Challenge racer, returning to action this year in a Porsche, but that Porsche is a little bit beaten up now.
Just checking the detail of the start driver there. I think it was indeed Rob starting the race, looking at it. So we'll see about that. Anyway,
yeah, we'll see what happens. Here are the leaders. Still Rob Baker ahead of Nigel Greensall. They're still both behind Ian Jones as they turn their way here throughout through and out of the hairpin. This is all looking very competitive, though, isn't it? Because Luke Handley's not that far behind. Then Josh Lawton in 6th. Then Dan Sylvester in 7th. There can't be much more than a second between each of those cars, so it's very competitive indeed, the first 10 minutes of racing here in the TEGIWA Roadsports Series. That big curb hopping moments for a few drivers as they go through there. Looks like Daniel Sylvester's Audi TT didn't get too badly damaged in that first lap incident he was involved in. The top 3 pretty close, 1.4 seconds between Jones, Baker and Greensall as they turn down towards Tower.
As Greensall had a big look down the inside of Baker for 2nd place there as they went into Tower Corner. couldn't quite make it work. Now, of course, actually the first 4 drivers, or first 4 cars, all have 2 drivers in. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out in the second part of the race. Are the second drivers going to be as quick as the drivers in first? We'll have to see about that. We'll be having the pit lane open in the next 5 minutes or so for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. So there's the Porsche, is it? Yeah, just out of Sunny. So it did get parked up, I think, near a marshal post. That's steaming away. Mark Grice there has caught Baker and Greensall. More cars in trouble though.
It's Giles Kirk, isn't it?
Yeah,
in the 211 car.
Say it's Super Cooper. So he is probably heading potentially on his way back to the pit lane. Meanwhile, for second place, it's pretty much side by side up across the line. This time, Nigel Greensall's on the outside line, heading up towards Clairvaux. I think the BMW's got the power, despite those big turbocharger on the Volkswagen Golf. Nigel Greensall is able to slot through then into second position. Didn't qualify perhaps as well as he would like. I noticed Greensall went out first when it was a bit damper, so perhaps that might be something to do with it. But now he's using his pace to claw his way now into second position. Can he catch Ian Jones? Can he hang on to second position first of all?
Yeah, because he's not getting away from Rob Baker yet. Mark Grice right with them as well in the Cupra. So they're turning their way around Tower Corner. It's just letting Ian Jones start to build up a small lead here. It's 1.3 seconds at the start of the lap. Class B, that's being led by Scott Parkin. He's 8th overall in number 89. And problems there for Rory Melia in that Mini, number 191. Looks like he is out of the race. A great shame for Rory Melia then. And he is the other half of Sammy Bowler, who's also in this race, of course.
Yes, I think Rory had a few issues with his car in quali as well. Sammy Bowler, you mentioned there, she's worked her way up into the top 20 in her Class B Mini. Here's the battle for second, third and fourth through the complex with a few minutes till the pit window opens. And this means Ian Jones through the traffic's very much pulled away, pulled clear from Nigel Greensall, who runs out wider than Rob Baker, but tightest line of all is with the Seat of Mark Grice, but I don't think Grice has got a good enough exit there to challenge up towards Clairvaux. So the gap is 2.4 seconds now then from Ian Jones back to Nigel Greensall, but you would suggest their co-drivers may not be as quick as who's at the wheel now. Into the pits has come down Sylvester, and there's a tyre on the grass in front of us, so whether those two facts are related I'm unsure.
Yeah, not quite sure where that's come from. We'll see if we can figure that out as the race goes on. Pit window 2.5 minutes away from opening. I don't think I've got a chance to finish my sentence here. Well, Matt Creed it is that leads Class C in 19th position overall as we are watching.
Our Class B leader.
Yes.
Scott Parkin, who's up to 7th overall now. So he's had a really good run. He's only a few hundredths off of Rob Boston's lap record. There's an Audi just ahead of him, the RS3. Who was behind him, so I think Scott Parkin's lost actually a couple of places at the start of the lap. Firstly to the Seat started by Andrew Raff, but also to Brad Kaler in this Audi RS3 that's making its 750 Motor Club debut today.
Yeah, so Brad Kaler up a position there. So we are working lap number 9 of this race.
Greensall's had a quick lap, I reckon, Ian, because he's much closer to Ian Jones and much further ahead of Rob Baker. So we'll see if Nigel Greensall, who was 2.4 seconds behind, is set a fastest lap of the race as they go up across the line now then. And as the timing screen refreshes, he has a 1 minute 28.40. New fastest lap then for Nigel Greensall, who's pulled away from this battle for third between Rob Baker and between Mark Grice.
Okay, so we'll see if he can get on terms with the race leader then. Bound to be a possibility, one would think. There's Mark Grice flashing his lights at Rob Baker. Is he going to try and go through here at Tower Corner? Certainly looked like he intended to, but then he's took back in behind. Rob Baker just seems to be a little bit quicker through the corners, is the Cupra of Mark Grice, as is the Golf of Rob Baker, which he'll hand over to Carl Swiftly second part of the race. 4th to 5th, a long gap back to Luke Handy now in 5th position, the 51 car, who is only just ahead of that Josh Lawton Honda, number 10.
I think Dan Sylvester might have got back out into the race, so I do wonder if that was his tyre that we saw go adrift out of the complex. Meanwhile, we watch a very sideways Ginetta that's spun. That's the 101 car, which is Andy Shepherd in his Ginetta G40, a more standard machine. We had a big spin there coming out of the S's, and hopefully he didn't connect with anything. He'll be able to get back going, but we can continue to watch this
side
battle.
by side for the lead, though, as they head down towards Clerfo Corner now, and it's Nigel Greensall that's taken the lead. He's got ahead of Ian Jones now, so number one. Where are we? We'll get the numbers right in a minute, but it is now the 40 car that's taken the lead. It was just ahead as they went over the line, ahead of the 117 car of Ian Jones in second place. They're 3 seconds clear of the next group of cars now, but on the straight, Nigel Greensall was just able to power past the BMW Compact of Ian Jones, which is in its own right quite quick in a straight line.
It's pretty impressive, really, what they've done. Martin Gadsby's done with that BMW Compact, isn't it? To be not that much slower than Nigel Greensall, who's such an experienced and rapid driver in a full M3.
That 101 Ginetta, which had the spin, is just driving down the pit lane, by the way, so it clearly was unscathed.
But this could be a pit stop too, if they want it to be, because we are into the pit stop window, so expect cars to potentially start pitting. There's Liam Crilly out there, back with us with the 750 Motor Club. He's in 12th position in his BMW Z4. We saw quite a lot of Liam Crilly in the past. He's just behind Johnny Monday's Honda Civic and just ahead of James Birch in his Vauxhall Corsa. Now that Greensall's ahead, I wonder how much he might be able to pull clear. Have we got the first track limit penalty of the weekend, Ian?
Yeah, and it's gone to the 117 car of Ian Jones, showing with Martin Gadsby. Of course, it's showing Gadsby's name on the timing screen there. Ian Jones is the driver out there at the moment, and he's come across the line that time, and he has 1.69 seconds behind Greensall, plus the 5-second penalty that will be added to the race time at the end of the race.
And that's one of the cars with a 10-second longer pit stop as well for the sequential gearbox, the Jones and Gadsby pairing. Into the pit lane comes the Class B leader, Scott Parkin. Brakes late at the 60 km/h marker. There he is in the pits, the dark side Golf that did lead its class by, I think, about 20 seconds or so from Johnny Monday, who we saw a moment ago. There's the pit stop then, down in the pit lane.
Yeah, we're on board with Scott while this is all going on. Just 60 seconds stop under normal circumstances as a minimum. He's then in the number 89 car. As we're watching here, the Audi come towards us. That's the Brad Kaler car, 187, and he's got a head now of 92, which was Andrew Rath that started that Seat Cupra that's just behind him. So another position made up there for Brad Kaler, number 187, who started 13th on the grid. He's now up inside, well, it'll actually be sixth. It is sixth position as things stand.
Race leader, Nigel Greensall, completes lap number 12 of this race as Jim Benson in car 59 into the pits, and his Lotus Elise, he was in about 17th, I think, before he pitted. Also into the pits for a driver change is Jack Wright to hand over to, I think it's his brother George, in their Volkswagen Golf. They're at the commentary box end of the pit lane. It's Josh Lawton, one of our first front runners to come in out of 5th position. Josh Lawton, single driven, or solo driven perhaps I should say, Honda Civic into the pits. Race lead gap, by the way, 1.2 seconds between Nigel Greensall and Martin Gadsby. Only a couple of seconds further back, Rob Baker. On the last lap through traffic, Mark Grice lost out. He's a further 3 seconds behind Baker. And I'd suggest him with the driver changes. The lead car, by the way, is another one with a 10-second longer pit stop for the sequential box. So I think the lead battle will be between Cole Swift and William Beach in the second half.
And I think that might be always what it was going to be, given the different drivers that are going to be getting into the cars driven by Ian Jones and Nigel Greensall as well. Possibly those with the quicker drivers, I would think, in those two respective cars as well. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shapes out in the second half of this race. There's that battle between Brad Kaler and Andrew Raff that just went through shot. Here is Liam Crilly, who's just ahead of the Vauxhall Corsa we spoke about early on. James Birch is into the top dozen now. So a really good effort this in the Vauxhall Corsa just behind the BMW Z4. Into the pit lane comes Ian Jones out of second position. The BMW Compact is in now to hand over to car owner Martin Gadsby. Perhaps a good idea while the pit lane's quite empty.
Yeah. So this is actually the battle for second place in Class B as things stand, just going through there with Liam Crilly and James Birch going through shot at the Jim Clark S's.
Into the pit stands one of our Class C front runners, Alex Richardson. He was second in Class C, a little way behind Matt Creed, who continues to lead the class. He set a new lap record a second under the lap record, Matt Creed, in his Renault Clio, 1:36.16. Blue flags waving for the slower Honda there into the complex. Liam Crilly then laps that Honda Civic of Dominic Barlow. Down in the pit lane with driver changes is Chris Stevens.
Yeah, I'm down at the Darkside Team garage with Rob. So first of all, just tell us what happened with the TT. We saw it came in with no front left tyre.
Yeah, Danny had a little bit of contact early on with the BMW. It stayed out as long as it could, but ultimately it resulted in a puncture, so we got that change as quick as we could.
Obviously a shame for his race, especially after qualifying so well, but you have got the B-Class lead before the pit stop just now with Scott, so things are looking good there.
Yeah, hopefully Scott can retain the B-Class lead. We'll see how the RS Swede as we Brad in it as well.
Thanks for the update. Ian, Josh, let's go back to you.
Thanks, Chris. And there is the car of Nigel Greensall, which is leading on the road at the moment then by about 3.5 seconds from Rob Baker in second place. It's Mark Rice in third. Luke Handy, who's just gone past our commentary box window, is in fourth position as we are approaching the halfway point, Josh.
In the pit stops, Josh Lawton has got himself up ahead of Martin Gadsby, so a good pit stop there from Josh Lawton. That could be a car for the podium, I would suspect, during the course of this race. And now he's got, well, I was going to say he's got clear track, but the pit stop here is basically a whole lap, isn't it?
Yeah.
60-second station, about 30 seconds into hour. It's about a lap around this course. There's Luke Handley, just lapping Sammy Bowler in her Mini. So Luke Handley goes through then the multiple Class B champion within Club Enduro. This upgraded Volkswagen Golf, another area motorsport car. There's Josh Lawton flashing his lights in his Honda Civic. And I think, is that just behind Josh Lawton, Scott Parkin. So Scott Parkin has also made a good pit stop here. We just heard from one of his team members in the Darkside team in that Golf TDI. Scott Parkin going well as they turn their way down. He's just behind the Class C leader, Matt Creed, who set that lap record. More cars in the pit lane. That's a driver change. Andrew Raff to Phil Nibb, the Sayat there. You can see number 92. You can see Andrew's got out. We have to use the whole rep for the pit lane past the garages here because of the size of the entry. You can see the cars parking at 45-degree angle. That's the regulation state. There's the leader though, Nigel Greensall, now 4 seconds clear of Rob Baker. And into the pit lane, I think, has come Mark Grice. It will hand over to William Beach. So Will Beach will get in 27. The car that was off the track at one stage. Through the S's then goes Nigel Greensall. 4 seconds ahead of Rob Baker, lapping similar type of pace over the last few laps. There's that Genetis, that got back out after its spin and early stop. Got Clio out there as well. That's, I think, William Brown, his 182 model. And here we can see Chris Freeman, another of the area run Golfs, a little bit plainer liveried car. I think that car had a bit of a bash at Anglesey last year, so that's been rebuilt. Chris Freeman currently running in 6th position. That is a Class A car, like Baker and like Handley. Now, a pit stop done then for the Sayat. Now, is Will Beach going to be our leading pit stopper? Yes, I think he is, isn't he? Because Josh Lawton just making his way through the complex, which is now under yellow flags because the Genetta's been off again, the G40. I think now in the hands of Rob Fenwick, has had it off in the Andrew Shepherd started Genetta G40. There it is, now with dust and grass falling out the bottom of that car.
Yeah, that's the 101 car. 89 is Scott Parkin, of course, who was leading Class B before the pit stops. Liam Crilly it now is that leads Class B, although he will be soon into the pits because only 5.5 minutes left before the pit lane window closes. Matt Creed, our Class C leader, is now in as well in his Renault Clio 200, amongst other drivers who've made the decision to stop in the last few moments. So as the cars continue on, we've got the Martin Gadsby car coming through, but we will head back down to the pit lane once again, and Chris Stevens.
So we just saw Mark Grice get out of the car and hand over to teammate William. So that seemed like a very eventful first stint for you.
Yeah, it certainly was. At the opening few laps I had gear change issues, so 1 minute it wouldn't select, next minute it select 2 gears in a row, so I was having to do it manually on the stick, and then I got the gear sticks working afterwards, and then I just had a little tap into the last turn with the BMW in front of me, and then the next lap or 2 laps down I was going around the outside and it didn't leave me really much room, and I ended up going on the grass. So yeah, it was very eventful, yeah.
And are we expecting that battle to continue throughout the rest of the race?
Yes, I would think so, yeah. It took me back to get the tyres clean again, so I lost a bit of grip, and then it's just a matter of dealing with the back markers who are having their own race. So obviously we have got to try and find a way around them, and depending on where you catch them is depending on whether you lose ground or gain ground on the one in front.
Of course, you guys are also out tomorrow in the club enduro as well, so how much are you trying to protect the car and not get any damaged panels or ruin the car for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, that's it. The last thing we want to do really is have the mechanics working all night fixing the car and the damage, so we've just got to take that in mind. But with it being the first race of the season as well, we sort of want to get a feel of what it's going to be like tomorrow, because quite a few of them around us, the Baker car, they're all in the same race tomorrow, so we have an idea of what's going to happen, but we've got 2 hours to do it tomorrow.
Well, thanks for chatting to us, Mark. Guys, as you can see, it's an absolute hive of activity in the pit lane here, so let's go back upstairs to you.
Yeah, and right behind you, Chris, we've got Nigel Greensall into the pits in the number 40 car. It's handed over to James Collins, so you might be able to have a chat with him in a moment. Josh?
So the car that's racing against Will Beach is just making its way up towards the hairpin now. So can Will Beach be our lead in pit stop, get out ahead of James Collins, because we know the BMW has the longer pit stop to serve, and it's yeah, indeed, it's going to drop behind, isn't it?
Yeah, so Grice goes past the Collins car now, so Collins car is just pulling away from its pit stop, and it's going to be, I don't know, 15 seconds ahead, the Mark Grice Will Beach car there. So that is for the lead of the race. I think Rob Baker's still staying out, isn't he, in the lead of the race in number 1 at the moment, Josh?
So is Luke Handley, so is Chris Freeman, so this must be an area motorsport strategy, how to run this, but they're going to have to pit on the next lap or so, aren't they, because the pit window shuts in 2.5 minutes, so therefore maybe squeeze one more in, but no more than that. So Rob Baker's going to get a lot for the driving today.
Dan Sylvester's back in to the pits again, so this will be for his mandatory stop this time, I think, won't it, George?
Yeah, because he was just a couple of minutes too early with the tyre issue, so Chris, thanks for letting us know it was from that car. I did wonder. The tyre fell off and then he was straight into the pit lane, basically. Chris Stevens is busy down the pit lane, he's finding more drivers.
I'm in the pit lane with Nigel, who just got out of the car. You seem to really be in the thick of the action in the early stages of the race.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I'm not quite sure what happened as they came out of the first corner. There was a few cars that were involved, and I was just being really cautious and careful. Our prime bet this afternoon is to get James, my co-driver, car owner. So James Collins, he needs to finish the race to get a signature on his licence, and it's his first season of racing, so we're just trying to build his spirits up and build it up. But everyone was getting a little bit crazy down into the first corner, so fortunately I managed to avoid all of that, and then just took the time to pick them off one at a time. Yeah, really pleased. You know, James and his team have done a great job on the car, and it's a pleasure to drive it.
Right, it certainly looks very fast out there. Where do you think you can end up?
No idea at the moment. We've got a bit of a gear shift issue at the moment, where when I'm shifting up it's getting neutrals and stuff, so that's quite intimate. So I've briefed James when he got out there, he's a very smart, intelligent driver. So I've said to him, just take your time. We're not worried about where we finish off. The main thing is to get to the finish of the race and have fun.
Well, absolutely. Well, we wish you all the best. And Ian, just before we go back up to you, I just thought I'd let you know that there are some spots of rain just starting to come down. I can feel the one like the back of my neck and the palm of my hand. Not making the tarmac wet just yet, but certainly something to look out for.
Well, we weren't expecting rain this afternoon. Pit lane window is now closed, and in the nick of time, Rob Baker did make it in there, but also he's picked up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits during the course of this race so far. He's handed over to Carl Swift now, but that car's suffering a 5-second penalty, Josh.
He's got out ahead of Will Beach, probably by about 5 seconds, I'd suggest. So that's going to be interesting to see who has the pace, who gets the best of the traffic. And at the end of this lap, we'll be able to give a proper rundown of the order. There's James Collins in one of his first races. I think he and Nigel Greenstall competed in the first day of the British Motorsport season at the end of February. A little bit warmer here today at Croft, so we'll see how James gets on. He's done a lap time within 4 seconds of Nigel Greenstall's best, so that's not a bad effort. I think he's got the flashers on permanently, which I'm sure other drivers will love. I know they're starting again, haven't they?
Yeah.
So there's James Collins, though. I think he's inside the top 6 and probably around 4th. Chris is busy, man in the pit lane. He's got more people to talk to.
I'm joined now by Rob Baker from the number 1 area motorsport car. Now, Rob, of course, big news for you this year is the fact that you've got a brand spanking new car out there. So how's it performing so far?
Well, it's actually one of our Class B goals from last year that we brought to Class A, and we've only had one dry day testing, so we booked onto this to get some dry running and some data and see what we can improve. But the racer in me made me go after positions, and I think we come in P2 as people in front of me overtaken under yellows P1, and so I don't know what's happened with that. I haven't looked at the timing screen, but car feels good for straight out of the box. We've had one dry test day this year, so pretty happy with it.
And we're expecting the same performance in the Club Enduro tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll be at Club Enduro tomorrow. Like I say, we're kind of using this as a test, but obviously you want to win, don't you? So that's what we'll go for.
Absolutely great. Well, Carl's out there in the car at the moment. How do you think he's going to end up by the end of the race?
I mean, hopefully the car felt good when I brought it into him. I don't know where other people were in pit stops, but we'll be happy with anything, to be honest. It's the first time the car's raced at this power, so we'll be happy with top 5 in general. So anything better than that's a bonus.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for talking to us. Okay. Ian, Josh, let's go back up to you.
Yeah, but it's not good news for Rob Baker and Carl Swift, because their penalty is now a 15-second penalty. It's not just 5 seconds. So this is the order as things stand before we take penalties into account. Rob Baker and Carl Swift, number 1, lead on the road by 5 seconds, but have a 15-second penalty. Second is 27. That's Will Beach now, having taken over from Mark Rice in car 27, as I say. Third is number 51, Luke Handley. Fourth is number 40, that's James Collins and Nigel Greenstall. That car has a 5-second penalty. Fifth is the 187 car of Brad Kaler. Sixth is number 10, Josh Lawton. Seventh and leading Class B is number 89, Scott Parkin. Eighth, number 4 is Chris Freeman, another driver with 15 seconds of penalties. Ninth is number 92, that's the Phil Nib, Andrew Rath, Seat Lion Euro Cup car. And 10th is number 12, Liam Crilly, who's second in Class B. And in Class C, at the moment, is it still Matt Creed that is leading there? Just scrolling down the order, and yeah, it is Matt Creed. But he has a 5-second penalty, but it shouldn't drop him back any positions as things stand, Josh.
As long as he doesn't exceed track limits again, because that penalty will get larger pretty quickly. There's not that many places where you can exceed track limits at Croft. There's a lot of penalties being dished out in this race. This corner is particularly prone to it, though. You run wide out of the Jim Clark S's and run off the road. That tends to be where you get it. New fastest lap, new lap record, I think, yes, for Dan Sylvester. Despite that contact at the beginning, obviously a pit stop to change the tyre, but Dan Sylvester, a new lap record, a 1 minute 28.08 in his Audi TT TFSI. So he's a long way down the order, but that car's got good pace.
It certainly does. He'll be maybe improving on 16th position, but he's not going to get towards the sharp end of the field. it looks like at the moment it could be sort of track limits penalties that decide things. I know that Rob Baker in the interview there was suggesting that there may have been some misdemeanours with drivers overtaking under yellow flags as well, so possibly there'll be some issues for the clerk of the course to look at after the race as well. There may be some penalties applied, so we'll see if the order on track is how similar that is to the order once the classification comes out.
James Collins is within a couple of seconds of Nigel Greenstall's lap times now, and he's starting to catch Luke Handley for third overall, although they have got this track limit penalty themselves, haven't they? But James Collins doing a good job, I would suggest there. So Nigel, who's been coaching him, and whenever Nigel talks, he always sounds so enthusiastic about everything, doesn't he? And just like he was last week at Donington again today. There's Johnny Monday back racing with us. He's been doing some C1 racing with his mate Chris Freeman over the last couple of years, but he's back out in this Honda Civic. He's in the top dozen, and he is in fourth in Class B, but not far behind James Birch, who's third, and Liam Crilly, who's second. So second, third and fourth in Class B, pretty close to one another. There's Dan Sylvester, the fastest driver on the circuit. He's unlapping himself at the moment as he goes down towards Tower. Chris said it was raining a few minutes ago. The sun's out now. So the rain was nothing like we had on Monday, so that's pleasing, I'm sure, for everybody. And now the weather is restored.
Yeah, indeed. Sunshine is coming out once again, which is good.
Josh Lawton, though, was doing well in the first part. Dropped back in the pit window area of the race, didn't he? Down to 6th.
Yeah.
But he's only a few seconds behind Brad Kaler. So we'll see if he can catch. And neither of those drivers have got penalties.
That's right. So it is the 6th car of Sylvester that we're looking at the moment.
One of the front runners in Class B is making an unscheduled stop. It's the Vauxhall, James Birch.
From 12th position overall, and I think it was 3rd in class at the time he went in. So he's heading into the pit lane, unfortunately for him.
8.5 minutes to go. The gap on the road, 3.6 seconds. We know the penalty that overhangs Rob Baker's car. So it, in reality then, is Will Beach who leads the way in the capture run Sayat. There's Josh Lawton, though, in that supercharged Honda Civic, X-Time attack machine. Lots of aero on that machine. See the splitter, diffuser, big rear wing as well. And Josh Lawton then, the 26-year-old from Hull, makes his way through as we watch Dan Sylvester then, who's up to, well, actually he's still in 16th place now, but he's soon going to gain more positions, I would think, as he turns his way there through the S's. He managed to unlap himself against Brad Kaler, I think, recently. He was the driver in 5th place, and that is his partial position, I think. He goes up the inside of Robert Andrade, who's making his racing debut this weekend, the driver from Wolverhampton, in the ex-Bruce Winfield Sayat, who was a race winner last weekend at Snefton in TCR UK.
Yeah, Robert Andrade, who's done some sprinting and time attack before this, being run by Matty Taylor for Robert. There is Sylvester then, the fastest man in this race, albeit in 16th position overall. Now we're taking a look at the 51 car. That's Luke Handley in 3rd position. He's about 4 seconds ahead on the road of car number 40, which is James Collins now, who, since he's taken over the green BMW from Nigel Greenstall.
Yeah, they just lapped the Janetta we spoke about earlier, the ex-Rothko car, now in the hands of Matthew Tidmarsh. Car now running a 2.5 litre Duratec engine. So they're making their way through with 6.5 minutes to go. There's Martin Gadsby. Where's he dropped to? He's dropped down to 13th. Yeah, and he's on that last lap at least, on the best part of 10 seconds a lap slower than Ian Jones was doing in that car earlier. And that is the position, isn't it? Dan Sylvester behind him is, I think, pretty quickly going to get the Audi up ahead of the BMW Compact. Not an easy car to drive, that I wouldn't think, the Compact, with all that power. Much more power than it was designed to have. But obviously driven very well in the first part by Ian Jones. There's Sylvester, who I suspect is ahead now and into 13th position. Yes, he is.
Yeah, heading into the complex once again with just under 6 minutes of the race left to go. There's the 777 car of Andrade going through as well. So 3.84 seconds separating first and second at this point of the race, though. That's Carl Swift and Will Beach, but Swift has got that 15 seconds penalty that will be added to his time, so he's some way from getting the win. He will be classified third as things stand, second I should say, as things stand, so she's the get back to Luke Handley in third position.
More penalties for the Collins and Greensill BMW. They're up to 15 seconds now.
Scott Parkin, he's got 5 now. I'm not sure if he had before, but I don't think that's going to cost him the Class B lead. He's 7th overall and quite a long way ahead of Liam Crilly in the BMW Z4 Coupe, who's second in that class.
Matt Creed, as the Class C lead, has been setting more lap records, so 1:35.32 now, and he leads the class by about 25 seconds over Sammy Bowler. So she's Class B, isn't she? Reading the wrong. So it's Alex Richardson, isn't it, who's second in Class C. Third is the Fenwick Shepherd car that had the spin early on, the Janetta, I think. Just got ahead of Will Brown, who was in third place. The top 3 in Class B, Parkin, Crilly and Monday. As we work lap 26, just been completed by the race leader. There is Sammy Bowler, Class B car, not Class C car, so she's in 19th position, and she's just been lapped, I think, by Dan Sylvester on his comeback drive. And 4 minutes the race to go. The gap is still 3 seconds between the top 2, so they're very evenly matched, aren't they? Rob Baker and Cole Swift versus Mark Rice and Will Beach. A car that's not in this race that we'll be factoring tomorrow in was the car that was quickest in testing, I think, or one of the quickest cars, which was Joel Oswick, the Class C champion, who's upgraded to a BMW M4. I noticed that was one of the quickest cars in testing yesterday, so we have more cars to factor into the Club Enduro picture. Now there's a Team Dynamics Audi that's entered as well. So the Left British Touring cars join us then for the Motor Club and National Progression. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but there's going to be a lot more cars to factor into what already has been a competitive race today.
It has indeed, and obviously Dan Sylvester in today's race is, where is he up to now? 13th position, having had that mishap earlier on in the race. That's Matt Creed just going through, our Class C leader, and that's our Class B second place car going through next, which is Liam Crilly in the BMW Z4 Coupe. 3 minutes of the race left to go. There is the car that, as things stand, is going to take the win, not on the road, because it's still about 3 seconds behind Carl Swift, in fact 4 seconds or so behind Carl Swift. Now that's Will Beach in the number 27 Cupra, and on the road still it's Carl Swift leading in that Golf, but that's got those 15 seconds of track limits penalties. Oh, and a moment there for number 14. That was John Munday in the Honda Civic, as he got on the brakes for Clervaux, but he got the car around the corner okay.
He's catching Liam Crilly for second, so that's why he's pushing on for second in Class B, I should say. So there's the BMW Z4 ahead. There's Johnny Munday in the Honda. So that is a potential gap to watch over the last couple or so laps of this race. It did come down fairly significantly on the last lap. There's Luke Handley, just got a glimpse of. He's there still in third place. He's 24 seconds behind the leader. He's 7 seconds ahead of James Collins, who's being caught by Brad Kaler in the Audi. And there's Handley again. We got a brief glimpse of. There's what is going to become our race leader after penalties are applied. Will Beach in the Sayat. Now here's Collins, who's got Sylvester trying to unlap himself, then just behind is Brad Kaler. Obviously Collins has got this penalty, but for on the road position, 4th and 5th, he's pretty close to the end. The leaders, I think they're going to squeeze 2 more laps in potentially, aren't they?
Possibly so, yeah.
We'll see if it ends up being that way. 3.5 seconds between them on the road. Another personal best lap, this time from Will Beach, as they went through to complete 28 laps in this race. And here then is James Collins versus Brad Kaler, with Dan Sylvester between them, a lap behind, as they head here down towards Clervaux. More cars that will be battling it out tomorrow. James Collins has done a good job here. Again, only a couple of seconds a lap slower than Nigel Greensall. He lets Sylvester go, so that means Kayla's going to be right behind him. At the end of the day, I guess this doesn't really matter if Kayla gets through, but it's good to see them side by side heading up towards Tower Corner nevertheless. Is Kayla going to find a way past Ian?
I think he probably is. As Nigel Greensall was saying, the priority for James is to get the signature on his licence having finished the race. So I would think it'd be wise not to defend too hard and risk an accident.
Here's the leader. This is Cole Swift. And they're going to get one more lap, I think, as they go up across the line. Yeah, one lap to go.
No checkered flag goes out.
Okay.
Checkered flag does wave, in fact. It is right to touch and go. So the win on the road goes to Carl Swift, but it will be, in fact, Will Beach and Mark Grice that will be classified as the winner because they don't have the 15 seconds penalty that Rob Baker and Carl Swift do. So then I think Luke Handley's going to cross the line now in third place, and it will be third place.
Brad Kaler dived up the inside of James Collins at the final corner, so he did get past him on the road, but only just. Here into the final corner comes Scott Parkin. So again, he's got a penalty, but unlike the overall leader, he's got a big enough gap. So here comes Scott Parkin in the dark side TDI Golf to win Class B, as he takes a checkered flag now.
He does indeed. So Scott Parkin then our Class B winner, and he finishes in 7th place overall.
Not sure if we've had Matt Creed through already.
Yeah, we may well have done. Just having a look at our Class C victor. I think he possibly already has come through to take the checkered flag. Obviously has been lapped during the course of this race.
Good to have a race that went the full distance there, 45 minutes, without any interruptions to the race. So we've got a good clear picture of how that one unfolded. And very competitive up front, a pretty frenetic start to the race.
You saw Matt Creed on screen there for those watching on the live stream, the Class C winner. So he has been through to take the checkered flag.
About half a minute ahead of Alex Richardson, who was second in the MX-5.
So I think that's everyone home now, so shortly we'll be able to bring you the provisional results of that race. Of course, this is before all the penalties will necessarily have been applied, but there you can see on the roads at least Rob Baker, Carl Swift, the winners on the road, but they've got 15 seconds to be added to their times. That will drop them to second behind number 27 Mark Rice and William Beach, third number 51 Luke Handley, fourth Brad Kaler in 187, fifth is going to be number 40. That's the car of James Collins and Nigel Greensall, but they'll be actually behind Josh Lawton once the times have made. So number 10, Josh Lawton will be 5th, 40 Collins and Greensall 6th. Scott Parkin, 7th, number 89, winning Class B. 8th, number 92, Phil Neville, Andrew Raff. 9th, number 4, Chris Freeman, and running out the top 10, number 12, Liam Crilly, who also is 2nd in Class B. 3rd in Class B is John Munday. Daniel Sylvester coming back to 12th at the end with the fastest lap as well. Further back, we can see that our Class C winner there in 18th position overall was number 23, Matt Creed, although he too had a 5-second penalty, but he was quite a long way clear of Alex Richardson in 2nd place in that class, and 3rd within that class was the 101 car Rob Fennick and Andrew Shepherd in the Ginetta G40 GT5. And then we get into the cars that I think didn't make it home in some cases. So James Birch, for example, he was a pit visitor. Jim Benson came to the pits and never went back out again. We lost Giles Kirk. The Porsche of Rob Smith and Leslie Charnock had an accident up at Sunny. Colin Gillespie and the Matt Hampson BMW early retirements as well. So that's Roadsports. That gives us a flavour as well for the Club Enduro race tomorrow. We will look forward to that then, but for the moment let's head down to the pit lane and Chris Stevens.
Well, the first TEGIWA Roadsports victory of the season goes to Mark Grice and William Beach. I mean, Will, you just got out of the car, did the second stint. You were staring down the back of the number 1 car, which obviously had the penalty. So did you know about the penalty first and foremost?
I only knew about the penalty when it came over the radio, so we just thought we'd bridge the gap to the car in front and bring it home.
How did the car feel throughout that second stint?
The tyres were going off, they were understeering all over, so we were pleased to bring it home in first place.
I mean, don't sound too happy about winning.
I'm bricking myself, to be honest with you. I hate interviews.
Well, okay, should we go to Mark then instead?
But thanks to Capture Motorsport and all the sponsors who can make this happen. I'll hand you over to Mark, he's better than me.
Yeah, sure. All right, well, cheers for that anyway. Mark, obviously we spoke to you earlier, but obviously to bring it home, it's got to feel great.
Oh no, marvellous, and what a job Will did, to be fair, because he knew we told him about the penalty on the radio, and he just managed the gap. It was about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, and 3 seconds. We just said keep that gap. They've got a 15-second penalty, bring it home, and that's what he did. Fair play. What a drive from Will.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations to both of you. Go and celebrate the win, and we shall talk to
as well who's making this happen. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Right, let's go and talk to some of our other class winners. So the Class C winner was Matt Creed in number 23. Matt, how was that?
Yeah, it was great. I think I led from the beginning in my class, so it was just a great race. First time I've ever been to Croft as well. So yeah, epic track. Love it. It's great.
I mean, a great way to make a debut at a circuit. Obviously, you picked up a little bit of a time penalty as well, like the number 1 car, but you had the gap, so it didn't really matter.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I did see. I mean,
did I just give you a bit of a heart attack?
Yeah, flipping it. Jeez, yeah. I mean, I don't know what my gap was, but yeah, I mean, track limits, I suppose. Got to be a bit careful, but yeah, it was great. I mean, the car, brilliant. Love it. Yeah, amazing.
Riding solo as well, there's not a lick of sweat on you as well. You've done a great job.
Cheers, thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Let's go and talk to the Class B winner, which was Scott Parkin. Scott, hello. Hi. Yeah, so obviously a bit of a misfortune with your A-Class teammate, but you've brought home the Class B win.
Yeah, I overtook his tyre as he was coming in the pits, so his tyre just went rolling down the pit lane, and I carried on the straight. So yeah, a bit of a shame for him, but I think he's got the fastest lap, so he'll probably take a little bit of that out of it as well. So yeah.
And what about you? Any dramas on your end?
I saw that I got a track limits penalty, but it looked like everybody did because the number were changing every lap. So I think that's probably through the Jim Clark S's on the exit. Yeah, not too many dramas really. There were quite a lot of traffic, and some people were sort of like jumping out of the way and then they'd catch you off guard. But yeah, that's to be expected. There's a big difference in abilities. You know, it's some people's first race, so you've got to take that into consideration. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So.
Well, great stuff. Congratulations on the class win, and hopefully we'll see you out again soon. You in the club in Juro?
Yeah. Hopefully, same. I'll be talking to you again tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you there.
I'll jinxed it though now, so I probably won't. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers. All right, let's go back up to you, Ian and Josh. Coming up next, it is the Absolute Alignment Sports 1000 Championship.